You had recently mentioned in our last interview that governments are going to be leading open contact. Will the United States be one of those governments or not? And
Yes. Yes. I do believe my understanding so far anyway is that there will be a coordinated release of information, a coordinated introduction of ETs when open contact occurs, ideally within a couple of years. So yeah, I think different government agencies around the world will be coordinating to figure out what the timing for that is precisely, but that it will probably be done something along the line of an announcement or a press conference or something along that line.
so for that, it seems like you're saying there will probably be like a specific date that is agreed upon, or is it more based upon our vibrational alignment?
Well, both.
Both.
And several other factors as well, including when the ETs believe that it's appropriate. But like I said, I'm pretty sure now that we're looking at 2027 as the year. I don't know what the date itself would be that would be settled on, but all indications so far seem to indicate that it'll be in 2027.
Nice. Well, let us know if you get that date.
You better come here and tell us first.
Uh, I will.
It had also been mentioned that aliens keep a close watch on the world's nuclear arsenal and wouldn't allow an Earth-ending nuclear attack.
Right.
Is there only intercession if a war becomes where people are using nuclear weapons?
There's an intervention if it is something that is so devastating it wouldn't remain on Earth. In other words, it would penetrate into other dimensions, cause problems outside of our backyard. Other than that, I believe they generally have a non-interference directive. But at this particular time, I think that they may be stepping up a little bit their ability to prevent a large scale disaster from happening. It's very important for whatever their reasons are at this point that humanity and the Earth continue. So there is something in the ET agenda that makes this particular timing a little bit more capable of the ETs stepping in. And again, I think that may have something to do with the idea of disclosure coming up and open contact coming up, in that it's time that they recognize there are things going on the planet that do now require them to step in somewhat to provide the guidance necessary to make sure that humanity and its evolutionary path at this point does continue into the future. So, yes, they may still, obviously, they're, not stopping anything that's going on right now directly in terms of wars or conflicts that exist on our planet. And I don't know to what degree they will allow, anything to happen that's even more devastating. I've talked about the idea that even a small, quote unquote, that's relative, even a tactical nuke in one area may not be enough. I don't know. Um, but we'll have to sort of see. But they won't allow a full-scale nuclear war, and I think they've clearly demonstrated that when we have many reports of UFOs over missile silo bases, scrambling the launch codes and things like that as a direct and I think very clear message that will not be allowed to launch a full-scale nuclear war. So that I think has been off the table for quite some time now, a couple of decades at least. So, yeah, because again, the release of that much energy would actually tear into other dimensions, and things like that. And that would be going outside our backyard where, we'd be affecting other consciousnesses, other realities that really have nothing to do with us.
Nice. What form will open contact originally happen in? Will it be like the form of a ship? Will it be physical?
I think first what we're going to get is more and more and more sightings and more clear sightings and more recordings of sightings, allowing us to really get used to the fact that the ships are here, that they're here. So I think we'll see an increase in that over the next year or so, until we just suddenly can't really deny that they do exist. There's just so much evidence, so much clear images that have been recorded and photographed and stuff like that. And that will probably lead up to um, the introduction and revelation that beings like hybrids have actually been among us all this time, helping certain scientists, helping working with certain government officials to do certain things that have been already been going on for a couple of decades or several decades in terms of technology and things like that are coming up. So I think the first step would be the revelation of those that have been among us.
Hmm.
And, then the next step would be the introduction of those that have been helping, maybe more remotely. So we're looking at the introduction of hybrids. We're looking at the introduction of Pleiadians. And then, after that, an introduction, whether fast or slow, of other species as well.
Wow.
Can you talk about the Rh negative blood type? And also, if there's been hybrids here, what's some of the evidence that would make a hybrid different in terms of what could be analyzed medically or on a physical level?
I really can't answer that deeply. I know Bashar does not at this point talk about the Rh factor in blood, so I have no real information to share with you that he's shared with us. Um, the hybrids that are among us obviously are undetectable, so they obviously look like us enough that we can't tell what they are. In terms of a medical way of telling, well, yeah, there may be differences in their DNA that we could point to and say, well, look, that's obviously not a typical human. But again, I think that when the introduction is made, there will be other ways in which we'll know, because the hybrids themselves have abilities and ways of demonstrating what they are that they're simply not doing right now, so that they can remain undercover, so to speak, while they're helping us. So I think it's going to have a lot to do with what they're willing to reveal to us, and what will be obvious when they are introduced. And then, sure, if somebody wants to go, well, let's examine their DNA and see what the real differences are, then, that may happen.